Welcome to the Stand Up Speakeasy. I am your host, Sareth, and every single session of the Speakeasy, I bring on a special guest. But this is an interesting kind of podcast, though. It's not like your usual podcast where I say share, 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 and subscribe and review and all that stuff. It's a secret society of comics that I interview, and it's like a kind of like a hidden city on YouTube, but it's in plain sight on my website at www.aqdpi.com. If you say it fast, it's aqdpi.com. So on today's episode, or on this episode, I'm interviewing Keegan Buckingham, and he's a performer, a producer, an MC in the stand-up comedy scene for many, many years. He's done everything from sketch, talk shows, radio, and also therapy. And his unique style, the broad range of sets, his broad range sets him apart for better or worse. And so we're going to deep dive into every single one of those. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, Keegan. Hey, Keegan, how are you, bud?
Hello, thank you. Oh, hello.
Awesome. So, how's your day going so far?
Oh, very eventful, very eventful. Woke up and made the coffee. Two,
Awesome,
two
awesome.
tasks. If getting out of bed is a task, two tasks in already. You don't want
Congratulations.
to make any day a zero day. So I'm already ahead of the curve.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's start off in the very beginning. I visited your website and to find out some research about you, and I dig the layout and everything. And what made me crack up was the 2020, and it said canceled, and I totally feel you on that one.
Oh, right, my official website. Yeah, you must have been digging deep for that. I took all the links down. KeeganBuckingham.com. It's like
Yep,
what is there to promote? But yeah, if you seek that website out, yeah, all dates canceled 2020.
yep. It's a watch for me too. We'll try to. And it's scrolling on the bottom there too, and so you can follow Keegan on Instagram and Twitter and all that good stuff there, and visit his website too. So you received your
Follow me on
bachelor.
Twitter for no.
Indeed, I rarely tweet too. I'm just like, "Oh, it's 4 in the morning. I'll just tweet. Why not?" So you received your Bachelor of Arts in English and Art from the University of Iowa. What were those years like?
Pretty uneventful to be honest. I mean, like eventful as far as like I went out, I saw what it was like inside of a bar. That's pretty much it. I don't know. I had like a pretty like tame high school life, so I think I was sort of like a naive kid going into it. So it was I never sort of like realized like college is supposed to be like this vast ranging experience that you get a lot out of. I was just kind of like seeing it like, okay, you're done with school. Now here's some more school. And then I think when I graduated, I pretty much went straight into the lifestyle I would have had if I had never gone to college in the first place.
Most definitely, indeed. And you've been part of the Chicago stand-up scene for a couple years now. So I don't want to say a couple
Oh
because
yeah,
you're just that was pretty neat. And
oh yeah. A
you,
couple, makes it sound rosier. Yeah, I've been here a long time.
indeed. And it says here that you've been on some really awesome stages, like the Cafe Cabaret in Chicago. Um, what are your favorite experiences from the Cafe Cabaret in Chicago?
Cafe Cabaret. That's the one that they were doing at Emerald City Coffee. Is that right? Or am I
I
thinking something
believe
else?
uh, I'm not quite familiar because I'm in Florida, but I've only performed in Chicago twice, which was the Red Tap, and Red Line Tap, and the Annoyance Theater. So those were the only two places I performed in.
Those were the only two we had in common, or those were the only two you were able to hit before?
Those were the only two I was able to hit before.
Okay. So what was it? Red Line Tap and
The Annoyance Theater.
okay, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
Red Line Tap, OP. That was what was the Darren Marshall show?
Yep,
Yeah, it's a
yep,
good time.
indeed.
R.I.P.
But absolutely,
That venue.
I miss that place for sure. But as for you, you've been all over the place in Chicago yourself, and
Yeah.
so
Sorry
the
to leave you
cafe.
hanging on the sorry to leave you hanging on the Cafe Cabaret. Like pick like a different venue from the list, and I could probably give you a better story.
Oh, for sure, absolutely. We'll go with the chemically imbalanced comedy.
Okay, okay, there you go. Yeah, chemically imbalanced. Like I live, I mean, to give away all kinds of personal information, I live so close to that. It is by far the easiest mic in Chicago for me to get to. I don't think I've traveled less distance to get on a stage, except when I performed in the living room. Yeah, chemically imbalanced, hosted by the great Mars Timms. Tim worked with him many years. Yeah, I don't know. I got to open for Improv at one point, like, for one gig. They had the move where it was like, okay, you're gonna do your here's your cue, ladies and gentlemen, Keegan Buckingham. And I go out there and okay, where's that mic? And it's like I got to realize on the fly, there is no mic. I'm there thing, in the round or whatever, no projection only. But that's the whole game. That's the whole game. You got to be adaptable, being into
Absolutely.
any situation and being funny.
Indeed, most definitely. I've been to a couple of shows like that before, and I'm a quiet talker, so it was definitely new to me for sure. So you've also performed at the Chicago Cultural Center. What was that? What was that like?
Oh yeah, that was fun. That was like I don't know. Like I tend to like search around for like opportunities that others wouldn't see. You can kind of like luck into these things where it's like they're just looking for general performers. So like that music or poems or something like that. But if it's broad enough that they can accept stand up, then yeah, like I'll take that.
Most definitely. And
See,
you've
it was like
also
a
performed at.
Saturday afternoon. It was like in the giant overhead, the giant overhead chandelier. I don't know. It's again, it goes back just being adaptable to whatever act I followed was like a socially conscious rap group. They're talking about the realities of daily life. All of a sudden, I go, hey, everybody, got some jokes. You know, uh,
Yeah,
it's one of these situations where there's no MC. You're just like the next one up there. But yeah, again, it's like I don't know. I just think of it like I got to make it fun. If I make it fun for me, it'll be fun for the audience.
absolutely. Indeed. And I dig some of those socially conscious rappers, and my favorite is from Chicago. His name is Common. He's a good guy. But I definitely dig everything for sure. And so you've also performed at the Chicago Getaway Hostel. Do you remember any of favorite stories from there?
You're cutting out quite a bit. What's the question? Sorry.
Oh, you've performed at the Chicago Getaway Hostel. How was that like?
Sorry, I'm not hearing you. The Chicago what?
Getaway Hostel. Let's see if
The Chicago
okay.
guest. The Chicago get get
Getaway
Gertrude.
Hostel. Getaway Hostel.
Yeah.
Um, let's see if that'll work. Can you hear me okay?
I don't know. Is there something?
It might be yours is lag. I could hear you okay, but it's like I'm lagging
Let
too.
me. Let,
Let's think you're frozen in time. um, let's see. What I can do is I can probably check out. See if we can. I can bring you back into the studio. Let me check this out real quick. But while we're waiting for Keegan to come back into the fold, His screen's blacked out, but you can follow him on Instagram and below, and Twitter, and his website's also on the bottom there below too. So it's KeeganBuckingham.com. How about now? Is that all right?
Are we back?
Yep, I think so. I hope so. I can see your hand. And I think it's like frozen in time, so we might have to call Elsa to bring you back. So you're sitting sideways, I think like Paul Wall. If you want, try using your mobile phone and see if that'll work. I'll message you through the chat. So
Try using my multiple feed.
your mobile phone?
Oh yeah, I'm on the mobile phone. Yes.
Okay.
I'm on the mobile phone. Are we good? Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay. How many viewers did we lose?
Not much, I don't think. Let's see. Yep, we're totally fine at the moment. So we're good to go for sure. And let's see here.
Okay.
Awesome. So it was the Chicago Getaway Hostel. Do you remember any memories from that?
Okay. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I had the Chicago Getaway Hostel. That was one where I went in. It was like I had been working on a Spanish version of my set. Like I went and shot like a few bilingual. It's like I know you know I know enough Spanish where it's like I can do a joke and it's sort of like the joke is sort of funny, but the real joke is like how poorly I speak it, you know? So I had an act going kind of like that. And so, I was like, okay, here we are, the hostel, it's an audience from all over the world. Go Spanish, the most, one of the most languages. So I launch into a whole thing, get done with it. I finish my Spanish bit, Ray Romano, and nobody laughs because it turned out nobody in there spoke Spanish. Not a single one. Guests from all. I really should have established that. It was a good time, and it's sort of like it's a big laugh that nobody spoke it. You know what I mean? The laugh was kind of like at my expense, but a laugh. I don't really get some laughs out of these people, and so that's what I did. I don't know. It was a good time. That was a good show while it was going.
Most definitely. And the Circa 21 Speakeasy. What are some stories from that place?
Which one? Circa 21 Speakeasy?
Yep. That's
Yeah,
the
that's a
one.
nice venue. It's in like okay. That's a nice venue. It's in like Rock Island in the Quad Cities. I don't know. They've been putting me up for since like I think the year I moved to Chicago. So like they were putting me on the stage long before I deserved to be on there. So yeah, nothing but love for them. It's there. It's like a box car looking room. Whenever I go there, I like to tell them, "Hey, look at this. We're in we're in a real coordination system of a basketball arena." And then the whole audience looks up and they have like some big honking air filtration thing on top, and it gets a nice laugh. Oh yeah.
Most definitely. And the Cocoa Club. What are some memories from the Cocoa Club you have?
What's that again?
The Cocoa Club. Which stories and memories do you have of that place?
Cocoa Club. I did a show there on New Year's, I think 2014 going into 15. And I think the audience at a New Year's Eve show would be to a random stand-up comic. That is exactly how it played out. But whatever, it's a noodles. It feels like you're really doing it. It feels classy, you know. I don't know. New Year's is a real awkward holiday. It's nice to have plans. It's nice to just have somebody be like, "Oh, I want you to be." It's nice to have a gig as opposed to muster up some kind of a social life at the last minute.
Most definitely. Indeed. I can only imagine what it was like, doing the countdown with the light and all that good stuff. So, how about the comedy tub?
Comedy Tub Show. It's over on Irving Park at Chicago Joe's, the restaurant. I know all those guys. I've known all of them for pretty much the entire time I've been in Chicago. Oh, I should say that because I think we're now a producer also. So yeah, it's a nice show. They got like a lot of like crazy crap hanging on the walls that I can riff on. Go look, it's the best Marlins bar in Chicago. Yeah, I don't know. It's nice. They like me over there. So yeah, I appreciate the time.
Indeed. And the co-prosperity sphere. What do you remember from that gig from the
Prosperity sphere? No, these are some deep cuts. I did like I think it was like cast on like a radio show or something like that. I don't know. That was like a 2015 co-prosperity sphere. I don't know. We'll get to co-prosperity someday. Fingers crossed.
Indeed, most definitely. Yeah, these were definitely some of the highlights of your career that I saw on your website. So, and how about the double door?
Yeah. Double Door, legendary venue. Not a lot of stand-ups got to perform there. I was doing the kind of gig where it's like there's multiple bands and there's like a stand-up getting up in between bands to kind of like kill. But bands didn't know this was going to be happening, and so I get about like three reps in or whatever, and then like the next band up comes up to me. They're like, "Hey, can you like up?" I don't know. That's my memory. I don't know. It was cool. It was cool getting to perform there.
Awesome, man. I host a festival in Colorado, and I did that the first 2 years, and it was like the worst for all of us. And now I just have like a separate day for
Yeah.
comedians and a separate day for musicians, and it just works out so much better. It just runs smoother, for sure. And how about the Angler Theater?
Oh, the Angler Theater. It's a nice venue. Yeah, like legendary venue actually. So like it's a true like old theater. You're in the green room beneath the stage. It's got like a circle of those around the mirror. Feels like you're a star. I opened for oh man, I don't even remember the guy's name. I opened for a guy that was like T version of Last Comic Standing. I don't know. The university would like bring in these like random comics and like, stand up truly wasn't big like when we started, me and these other guys. And so like we were more or less the only comics in town. So like whenever the university would bring in these like, mid-level acts to, headline open for them, we'd be like, yeah, sure. So yeah, it was a nice gig. Nice theater. Shout out to that person.
Indeed. How about Gabe's Oasis?
What?
What are some memories from Gabe's Oasis that you have?
What are some of them?
Gabe's Oasis. Do you have any memories from that
Oasis? Oh,
stage?
Gabe's Oasis. That's also in Iowa City. Yeah, that one was like badass to perform in because like I grew up. That was like the first venue I saw like music acts in. I would go to like these lesser known new metal bands. I would see like, Taproot or Non-Point and stuff, when I was in high school. And then, ended up going to like college in the same town. So like I saw a whole bunch of shows when I was living there. And then finally, like, just a couple years before I moved out of Iowa City, I'm on a show at Gabe's. So yeah, that was badass.
Awesome. I remember those new metal bands from back in the day. That's some good stuff for sure. And what was it like performing at the Green Gravel Comedy Festival?
Oh, Green Gravel. That was like also in Iowa City. That was fun. Um, like I think first time I went back for a comedy festival in Iowa after I moved here. It was nice. Got a bed. It's a Green Gravel. Talent. That's a nice ego boost. I did a show at like diner in the afternoon. Or no. It was a show buffet, George's Buffet. Shout out. Did that in mid afternoon on like day 2 or something like that. I don't know. Went fine. It was a nice gig. Option for me was having the rest of the night empty to get back to the Iowa City bar scene. I don't know. There's like 50 bars like right next to each other. It was great.
Awesome. Definitely easy way to bar hop for sure. And how about the Hoo Ha comedy? What are some fond memories from the Hoo Ha comedy?
Hoo Ha showcase originally at a bar called Beer. Just Beer was the name of the bar. They eventually relocated Burger. But yeah, when I did it, it was at a venue called Beer, and that's it. I don't know. It was fine. It was like fairly early in my days. I don't know. For that show, like flipped over a lot. So it got to the point where it was like I performed their show. I got to be then like once they moved over to a new venue, I think they had no producers left in common from what had been the regime that booked me. And so unfortunately never got to do it in the new venue. It was nice having the show over at Beer.
Most definitely, indeed. And what was it like performing on the Laugh Factory in Chicago? What was it like to grace the stage of the Laugh Factory in Chicago?
Oh, Laugh Factory. I don't know. I got to be on like a decent number of like random kind of things over there. I did like battle states where I had to represent Iowa versus Wisconsin. Weirdly, I might add. And then I don't know. They put me on like random, weekdays, a couple like weekends. I think. I don't know. The actual, you know, it's been like sporadic appearances, but it's like I get it from their point of view. It's a buyer's market. There's comics out the ass over here. Everybody wants some time. So it hasn't been quite the love, but I get it. If I was running a
And
venue, if I was running a comedy club, probably be fairly.
most definitely, indeed. And I the comics that I met out there. Hopefully, I get to meet you in person after COVID ends. And I've seen a lot of comics in Chicago. It's amazing. And how about the Motor Row Brewing?
Motor Road Brewery. I did a show there where you do a set, then you get off stage, then you get drunk, then you do another set. So I did like 2 sets same night, one with I think 1 beer in me, with I think 5 additional beers in me. I don't know. Like I probably did better on the second set, the drunken one. I think the audience's expectation is raised. You know what I mean? It really matters like how actually drunk you are. I think the audience knowing that that's the X factor, leads to this expectation thing. So, any way I can take it on that set, they'll be down with it. Because okay, what's the difference now that the person's drunk? The crowd is like on board with this con. It was unique. I don't know. I would imagine not a lot of people would attempt that type of format. So yeah, I appreciate anything like, which I guess is my
Indeed,
catchphrase.
most definitely. And what was it like performing at the Second City in Chicago?
Second City, again, bag ones. I did like a weekly sketch show or slash called the Midnight Parade, and we did that for a year or two. That eventually moved over to Public House Theater and became Talk Show Interrupt. By far the most long and rewarding sketch experience I've had. So yeah, the seeds for that got planned over at second classes there or anything. I don't know. I've done their open mic several times. I don't know. They got a lot of stuff going on over there. I don't know the politics of Second City or what the current ownership situation is like. But yeah, like so many of these things, I've been here just to sort of like get the experience, have like different areas of input that could affect, my other creative endeavors in the future. And so like I just like grab a couple little seeds.
Indeed. And what was it like to perform on the shithole?
Oh, shithole. That's fun.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like a DIY venue. You can't give away that. You can't advertise it on the radio, which is tricky. I was doing like a broadcast radio show for a couple of years, and so like whenever I had a show at show, I got a show coming up. I can't say the names, can't say the address, but yeah, if you know what I'm talking about, be there tomorrow. But yeah, Shithole is great. Like their show. They're very good about getting an eclectic set of acts on. Like you'll see everybody there. You'll see everything. Uh, it's been a great time every time I've been there.
Indeed. It reminds me of like one of those scavenger
This
hunt days for the. It reminds me of like the old scavenger hunt days if you're looking for a rave kind of show. Seems pretty interesting for sure. And how about the Smiley
Yeah,
Face stand-up show?
it's a
Go for it.
smiley face.
Yep, the Smiley Face.
Uh, yeah, smiley face. That was over in Lincoln Park, in a restaurant. It was on a week. I had a really good set, which stands out clearly in my memory. I had a good tender like me, which is always a great sign. The bartender complimented that was. I don't know, like for whatever reason, it was like clicking for me that night. I think same show. Uh, yeah, that's as far as I can go with my word association with that specific show.
Indeed. How about Stage 773?
The area
What are
code.
some memories from yeah, the Stage 773. What are some memories from that
Stage
show?
7. Like a lot of stuff over there. They have like just like studios out for rental. So like I don't know, we got to do like a sketch show over there themed. I played like I had two parts. I played evil Stan Lee. Stan Lee was still alive at this point, so it wasn't quite that disrespectful. But yeah, I kind of just like interrupted the show and said that I created everything. I told everybody that I created them. Some little kid like interrupted me just like, unplanned, and I was just like, I created you. And that got a nice laugh. And then the other character was like, I went, once I was done with Stan Lee, I went backstage and I changed into the last character on the show, Deus Ex Machina Man. And so he had to run out and interrupt the host and be like, "It's me, Deus Ex Machino, man, sketch." And just yeah, like yeah, clever if you consider that clever. Yeah.
Indeed, definitely sounds like some fun times. And how about WIP Theater, WIP Theater?
Oh
What
yeah,
are some memories from that?
that was a great venue. Like make it. If anybody was ever gonna make a true independent comedy club, they were about as close as it was getting. That was Tim Witzel and Tony. Yeah, they were really doing it up there in. Oh man, what neighborhood is that? I don't know. Whatever neighborhood that is. Is it the like? Yeah, they were really making a name for themselves over there. It's really like unfortunate what happened with the fire, but yeah, they were really good to me every time.
Indeed. And you performed at two Zanies locations, one in Chicago and one in Rosemont. What are some of your memories from those two Zanies?
Zany's Old Town is like legendary venue. Love getting up there. Rosemont probably put me on quite a few more times, so that's the one I have more experience at. Rosemont's probably like the best like physical layout of any comedy club I've ever seen. Room, you can walk to the back of the show and just hang out there, then straight back to the green room without walking over anybody. They've got it set up where there's like a lower bowl and then behind it, so like even like on a slower night, they can just have everybody in the lower section, still, so it still feels full even when it's not. Yeah, it's physically it's the best I've been in. I don't know. As far as Zany's, probably similar to what I was saying about Laugh Factory. Like it hasn't been quite the I would really expect fully. But again, I'm just one more kind of like comic being like, here, gimme, please. You know, from the venue's point of view. You got thousands of comics to choose from. Some are an A plus, some are a B minus. Why not go with the A plus many times as you probably can if you got the A plus banging on your door every night? So yeah, appreciate the time.
Most definitely, indeed. And you've opened up. We're on some shows with some amazing comics, some famous ones. The first one was Steve-O from Jackass and Wild Boys. What was that like?
Steve-O, I opened for him like stand-up career, so it was like not too long, but like very shortly after he did stand-up. So it was sort of like evident that he hadn't in the game a while because like the show was set up where like um he would come from his hotel in a limo but have it timed. You know what I mean? He gets out of the door, he walks in the front door, he walks to the stage. So I was the MC, but other than him shaking my hand and taking the mic, that was of the interaction we had for that entire show. I got a photo with him after, but that was because there was a line where everybody could get their photo with him. But for Steve-O, I don't know, pick me out of a line at night, but yeah, like in the cap, I opened.
Indeed, another Jackass cast member was Preston Lacey, and I love when he chased Wee Man around. What was that like on the same bill as Preston Lacey?
Sorry, say it again, please.
Oh, what was it like being on the same bill as Preston Lacey? He's another cast member from Jackass. Any memories from the Preston
You're
Lacey
cutting out. You're
show?
saying Preston Lacey? Yeah, I opened for him at Wire. But Wire is the name of the venue. I don't know. It was fun. Again, like didn't have like a ton of experience doing stand up, but I mean, he made it work for him. I'd say Steve-O, even though he hadn't quite gotten down, he knew what the crowd expected of him, and he delivered. I don't think anybody was disappointed either time. Preston, like the nicest, famous person I've met, like probably like seems the least like a famous person of all the famous people I've met. You know, very humble. Finale of the show with him having hit him with a chicken slipped over his fist. You know, a chicken like you would cook, and up the fist, you punch pressed. You know what I mean? Like the crowd loved it. What can I say?
Indeed. And what was it like to open for Chris Farley's brother, Kevin Farley?
What's that again?
What was it like to open up for Chris Farley's brother, Kevin Farley?
Oh, Kevin Farley, Chris Farley's brother. It was great. He was definitely like more seasoned as a comic than those other famous guys. You know, actually came up. So yeah, he had all the chops. It was great. It was like out at a it was out in a suburb. I don't know. No, he played what they wanted. It was a pro.
Indeed, most definitely. And you also shared the stage with Arvin Mitchell from BET, and what was that like?
Sorry, what's that again?
You also shared the stage with Arvin Mitchell from BET. What was that like?
Oh, that's the name I was trying to come up with earlier. He's the guy I opened for at Engler. Arvin Mitchell. Yeah, he's a very funny guy. Fun to hang out with too.
Sweet. And how about Tom Sharp from Live at Gotham?
Oh, Tom Sharp is great. Like he was like the like when we were starting in Iowa, like he actually had credits. He'd been on like Comedy Central. He was fun. He was friends with Sarah Silverman. So yeah, scene. It was like a great, like, you know, been in stand up and seen stuff. You know, like if it was just us sort of like poking around in the dark, it's, you know, it would have been other you know, level of confidence to have to rise to get out of there. You know, Sharp was like hilarious. Like he had like all these named Possum, who was like a redneck. He would, you know, the character would go like, he'd go like, "Oh, you city folks got a fee, au pair. We got a word like that too, but it's like, you got some more beer up there." So yeah, like he would come on, like when he wasn't doing a character, he would go on. He would go like okay, ladies, on a scale of 1 to 12, over tonight. You know, he was very funny. Like I don't know if he's still doing it, but yeah, it was a tremendous advantage having somebody experienced like that. Absolute zero.
Indeed. And what was it like to be voted the 2011 funniest person in Iowa at the Penguins Comedy Club in Cedar Rapids, Iowa?
Heimel. No, like it actually was. It was like it was very nice. Like I prepped really hard for that show. I'd lost the same contest like 2 years before, and really wanted to do well the next time. But then they ended up canceling it the year following that, so I had to wait 2 years to get. And yeah, I don't know. Had a pretty good preliminary round, and then yeah, just I don't know, crushed it in the final. I gotta say, I'm thinking about it. I must admit, yeah, like I don't know. It was like you couldn't ask for a better credit at that point. Funniest person in Iowa when all you have a comedian in Iowa. Yeah, that was like it was a confidence boost. Right before I moved to Chicago, and all of a sudden had to become an anonymous.
Most definitely, indeed. And so you were the host of a couple of things and open mics and comedy shows and stuff. And so we'll go through those at the moment. So you were the host at the Rockwood Place open mic in Chicago. At the time at Chicago, and it was voted one of the 10 great open mics for aspiring comedians. What are some more memories from that place at the Rockwood?
Rockwood Place was pretty fun. It was the first open mic, or like the first like regular open mic. It was sort of like a pretty clever marketing ploy. Monday nights in Wrigleyville was like the big for stand up at the time, or at least like the big night in that part of town. Because yeah, you could hit like, I don't know, 8 different open mic or some version of stage time that you were able. Those would start up at like 6, 7 o'clock. Then you have more at like 8 or 9. But basically, like the latest one of those would like run at like 10:30 or 11 o'clock. I know the one at Comedy Sports went a little bit later, but by and large, like they were all wrapping up around like. And so like I was like, okay, I'll just start an open mic that starts when the other ones end. And so I had like 11 sign up, 11:30 start, and it's a venue that's right smack in the middle stages. So I would just get like the spillover from everybody that had all done their other open mic sets and wanted to get up one more time. So we'd start at 11. I mean, there were times when like the list packed and we'd go, like 159, we would like push it all the way. There were multiple times where I had to like take the last people to, I'll have to give you like a good spot next week or something. Great. I would have like a different guest co-host every week. So that was like a good way to, meet people that I didn't kind of like, bring up people that hadn't credits before. I gave first credits to some people that became quite prominent. But hey, who knows?
Dean, you were the host and provided graphics for Goldie's open mic in Chicago. What were those times like?
That was
At
another sort
Goldie's?
of like clever ploy on my Goldie's, yeah. That was another sort of clever ploy as far as like timing goes, because yeah, like at the time I was sort of just like getting frustrated. There wasn't any Wednesday stuff except for Coles and Chemically Imbalanced. And Coles, positive qualities, takes forever on at your not it's quite lengthy to wait for your spot, and Chemically Imbalanced caps their list at like 15. So if you didn't want to put up with either of those two, there's like really no other option. Wednesday was really dead for open mics at the time. So I found an ad on Craigslist that said seeking open mics host. And so that's what I did. I went over there, met the owner, and there you go. I set it up for Wednesday night as starts on time. I put that on everything so it would be distinctly different from the other options at the time. It was basically to doing the other open mic in town, as opposed to the other one. We're starting on time, we're moving fast, no co-host, cheap drinks. Let's get through this. You're all. I'm gonna give it to you. My time on stage was short as hell. I would do like a host set of like 3 minutes, then do no more than like 1 minute in between. Most of it though was just like, now welcome this comic. I hosted it the way comics really like it hosted. So it was like great. It was a great experimental, time. I don't know. It was a nice open mic. So like the owner wasn't quite on board with it. And so I don't know. Apparently if you have like 30 thing, you so it was fun while it lasted.
Most definitely, indeed. And you are currently the host and booker of the Comedy Cavalcade from 2017 to present day. What's that like? What are some stories from there?
Comedy Cavalcade, that's like a show over. This is in quarantine terms. I don't know what the status of anything is now, but yeah, that was a show through Flabby Hoffman that I've done all kinds of work with. You just needed somebody to host it, and I don't know, basically whatever project I take on, I kind of just put as much effort as I possibly can into it and try to make it. I want to be proud to put. And so yeah, I don't think I think calling it something different at the time. I think they were trying to call it like Three Ring Circus or something like that, which I wasn't crazy about. So yeah, and, I don't know. I started making custom graphics for each show. I made it a lot less of the format of a lot of shows used to do this format to get on. It's sort of like automatic. I was, they had like a lot of slots to fill. The way Flabby liked the show was to have like, I don't know, a dozen or something slots of comics. And so to fill, but there's also like so many comics here that it's not like you just have to be first come, first serve. And so like, I was sort of like using my years of experience and knowing all these people to where the 12 best were that I could come up with each time. I don't know. It was a unique venue. It was a unique show. It's a unique format. Comics that like, okay, don't think of this like a Chicago show. Think of this like a road show. And so, the ones that like chose to utilize it like that had a good time. And then I utilize it for kind of like scouting purposes. I would have like, kind of like paid on the side at other, venues around town. And so that was like a good opportunity to see, okay, who's in front of the audience, who's, going to handle it all like a pro basically. And so it was a, good vetting experience for that, saved me a lot of travel and the.
Most definitely, indeed. And you were also the producer and the host of the Title Bout Comedy Challenge. It's a stand-up contest at the Celtic Crown Chicago, or some folks say Celtic Crown Chicago, like the NBA. What was that like?
Oh, that was fun. It was like comedy contest. So like we'd have, I don't know, 5, 6 comics, something like that. Strictly by audience vote. They would move on to the next round, and then we had like a big show at the end of the whoever got the most votes took home the big check. So it was strictly based on audience votes. So it was kind of it's a bringer but not a bringer kind of environment. I don't know. It was a nice experience. They had a nice venue in there, Celtic Crown. Again, like with a lot of these places, I don't know what their current status is, but wish them the best.
Absolutely. And you're also the producer of two more shows, the Week Show, or the stand-up showcase at Barcelona and Chicago, and Duck Duck Comedy stand-up showcase at Goose Island at Wrigleyville, Chicago. What are some fond memories from those two places?
Comedy and
Oh, the this week's show at Barcelona, Chicago, and Duck Duck Comedy at Goose Island at Wrigleyville, Chicago. What were some stories from producing those shows?
Yeah, like Duck Duck Comedy, that was like our first, me and my roommate, Greg Gettle, used to live here. We used to hear from with, I don't know, 3, 4 more producers all got together, and that was like sort of our first producing experience in Chicago in the shadow of Wrigley Field itself. This was also at a time when the Cubs were at sort of a low point. And so, yeah, like for it at the time, you could bark a whole audience in, you could like stand outside the venue and be like, hey, we got a free comedy show going on right now. And you could get people in there. Like we would fill times. And, also the stand-up scene was like a lot smaller. So like we were able to get a lot of the like top tier people without a lot of good shows. What's funny with that one is like we had another producer lined up to come in from Iowa. So like me and Greg had both like another guy lined up that was going to make the move over and work on it with us. But at the last minute, he ended up dropping out. He decided not to move to Chicago at the very last second. Lurch were like, oh man, what were producer slot? Because at the time, fast forward and now, I think like the less producers, the better. What are we gonna do? We gotta get another producer. So we had gone to the open mic at PH Comedy a day or two before. Greg's like, oh, who do you want for this other producer? just saw that new guy, Jeff Mercury, I think, and that ended up being was who I was thinking of. And so as a result of that, Jeff Arcuri became a producer on Duck Duck Comedy, and now is a true comic. I don't know. He's he's very prominent. So yeah, it was like I don't know. It was a great experience. I don't know. John Thomas, that was a producer on it with comics in town. So I don't know. Duck Duck Comedy was a fun time. Got us our foot wet. And then yeah, I don't know. We ended up, me and Greg, and then like mostly a different set of guys ended up the street from that over at the former Barcelona is what it was called at the time. And that was like in a basement. They had like, I don't know, this weird, had like a very, cokey 70s feel to it with like funky wallpaper, sort of like the thing I got going on back here. And that, but like all across the entire width of the room. So yeah, like a real like kind of like funky design. Oh, but like also with like mirrors and like posts and like mafia booths and stuff like that. Unique, funky little venue we were able to just like discover out of nowhere. That was a good time, but it was also like we were all sort of like heading in different directions. Like it wasn't never quite as simpatico as it was. And so I don't know. I got like a little bit of experience in there, but I don't know. After a little bit in producer unit parting of ways. I don't know how bad of a. I don't know how much of a tell-all that was a mixed bag, but whatever. It's all
Indeed.
stew, baby.
Most definitely.
Mix it in.
And you were a writer on 2 shows at the Comedy Sports in Chicago, and you were the co-host of Talk Hard, as well as a live talk show. What was that like?
What was that again? A White Sox thing?
Oh, for you were the writer and co-host of Talk Hard. It was a live talk show at the Comedy Sports in Chicago. What was that like?
Something about comedy sports. Comedy sports. I worked on a show called Talk Hard that was like a live talk. They were I don't know. I started out as like a monologue writer, but then eventually became like the co-host. That was with Jamie Campbell. He's a very passionate and very hard-working guy. He was very. It was a fun show. We got to do a lot of cool stuff, but it was also like midnight Friday time, like a real tough sell. Where you are, yeah, you're hoping to get sort of like this drunken bar crowd, but chill and not disruptive. So you're trying to like strike this like very specific target. And so I don't know, that was a fun experience again, kind of just like resume or whatever. But yeah, like and then we ended up doing a show called Spiked Punch that was like a live game show, and we had like a big group on that. I don't know, we would have writing prompts. It would be, we would say like, okay, name George Washington's other parts were made of, We'd give like a broad category like that, and then you'd have to come up with like, some fun fill-in answers or something like that. I don't know myself as a game show writer per se, but yeah, whatever. I'll take it all. I'll take it all.
Indeed. And you were a writer and performer at the Midnight Parade live talk show at the Second City Training Center in Chicago. What were those times like at the Midnight Parade?
Yeah, that's the one I was. That was with Tyler Ross was the host. I want to say Karen Ruby was the co-host when I first started, and then eventually that was the co-host. That was fun. We got to do like a lot of like characters and sketches and stuff. Like I was like the MS painter, where I would come on and display my artwork. That was all stuff that was like real easy to make in MS Paint. You know, it'd be like a green background with like a blue circle on it, and be like, oh, this is I call this. I don't know. I was like the Wrigleyville rat. Wrigley Field were like a big news story at the time, so I was just like a rat talking about like, I've seen it all. Scott Service eating peanuts, Gary Gaietti's cup. I've seen it all, kid. So yeah, I don't know. I love doing stuff like that. I don't know. If you can like escape into a character, then stand up is sort of like too much, just like you doing you. So it's nice to switch it up with the.
Indeed, most definitely. And you were also a writer and performer at the talk show Interrupted Sketch Show at the Public House Theater in Chicago. What was that like at the Public House Theater?
That was just like a spiritual continuation. It was just like a spiritual continuation of the show we were doing at Second City, basically. And so we found a new venue, changed the name. I don't know. That was like right by my apartment, so like we would have the pre-show meeting here, we would have the after party here. So it was very life at the time. I don't know. We got to do a lot of fun stuff there. I played like President Garfield. I played politically correct Fonzie, where I ramped the stage instead of a motorcycle. Let's see. Oh man, I played. Let's see. I played a former Vice President, Tom Clancy. I got to play Hard of Hearing Hogan, the wrestler. So he's like, like over and over like that. Yeah, it was a great time. Any excuse to come up with some silly content, I'll take it.
Indeed, most definitely. And you were also the monologue writer for the Nightcap. It's an internet talk show on EGen TV or Egan TV or .TV. What do you remember from those days?
EGen TV, that was like my first regular writing gig, where it was like, I think they had like a spreadsheet and every day, something like that. And so yeah, I would just like wake up, I'd jokes. It was like a very nice way to sort of like prime the pump and just like sort of get some jokes out. They had like this interesting idea where like they found a bar that was like completely on board with having a television and radio studio in their venue, which I think they thought would drop. It looked like something's filming in this bar, so we better not go, kind of a thing. And so, yeah, it was cool while it lasted, but I think the venue caught on fairly no money to be made. And so that was nice while it lasted, period.
Most definitely. And when I usually interview comics, I ask them these general questions that are in this next segment, and so I want to ask you these couple of questions, if I may. What inspired you to perform
Yes.
stand-up comedy?
A class my senior year in college. I was like an art major, English and art, and so I had one class senior credit, and that was intro to storytelling. And they would just give you a prompt. He would say like, talk about a conflicting experience, or talk about a difficult decision you had to talk about it for 5 or 10 minutes or whatever. And so I was sort of like inadvertently the star of the class. I was getting like nice laughs and stuff. And so that sort of like planned a couple of years after that to realize like there were these things like open. And so I sook out the only open mic in Eastern Iowa at the time at Penguins Comedy Club. Went down there, performed a set, did well. Went back the next month, did very poorly. stopped for a long time, back, then started again and never looked back.
Indeed. And what was the feeling like when you first performed stand-up?
It was scary, but also like in a lot of ways, like one of the least scary times I ever did it, because there was no expectation on it. Nobody knew me. Like they're like of all random people. There was like and I really didn't think I would ever do it again. I really just thought like, okay, I'll just do this one time, and I'll see how it got off the bucket list or something like that. Uh, but then yeah, I don't know, for whatever reason, that's been the one I've been able to stick with. I don't know. I've
Most
always been like
definitely.
a pretty good general creative type. If you give me like an instrument or like an art form or whatever, I can with it. But like as far as like being dedicated, being like obsessively dedicated, stand up is really the only one that's like stuck. It's I absolutely don't even want to do it. I'm that obsessive about continue. You gotta ride the hot hand. That's what I've been able to get myself to do. So yeah, it's been stand up all the way.
Most definitely. Indeed. And let's see here. What are your favorite comedy specials and comedy record albums?
My favorite comedy specials and
Comedy record albums? Comedy record albums?
well, I heard comedy specials. I don't know, like okay. I don't know. Record albums probably like Bob and Doug McKenzie, Great White North. I had that like when I was like 14 or so. That was probably like one of the first comedy albums I had. I like those like Sandler albums back when Kicker from whichever one that was on. Uh, as far as like stand up specials, I don't know. Like I really don't like. I like more than I like watching it. I'll the ones where it's like if there's a lot of hype around that special, I'll check it out just to see what everybody's talking. I was like, oh my god, Fill in the Blank comic has a new special out. I gotta see what they say. I don't know. I really haven't felt like that in quite a while. I don't know. If anything, I'll like seek out the old stress to see like what was the height of comedy considered in 1988 or whatever. I watched like Whoopi Goldberg's old special. I couldn't believe how hilarious it was. Hey, I had no idea.
Indeed.
That's as good as an answer as you're gonna get from me on comedy specials.
For sure. And a couple of those folks have been on TV and film, like Whippy. What are your favorite sitcom sketch shows and comedy films?
I don't know. I mean, I grew up watching Seinfeld. Probably one of the first exposures to stand up in general. Seeing him on the intro and the outro doing his act. I don't know, cartoons. I like Simpsons with an asterisk. I like Silly when it's really good. I don't know. To pick like some lesser known stuff. Moral Oral. It was like a claymation religious satire on Adult Swim. It's a very brilliant show. I never watched that, even though it's an older show. Um, and then I don't know. The Critic I love. Uh, Clone High. Any cartoon that was like short lived with a cult audience and canceled before its time. That's where you'll find me. Oh, I love Venture Brothers. I'm so sad.
Indeed. And favorite sketch shows?
Favorite sketch show? I like old SNL. I like the real old. I like season one where they got like Muppets, this crazy crap, where it's more like a variety show than a sketch show. Like I like that crazy early version of that. Other stuff, I don't know. How many are there to choose from? It's like if I say SNL and Mad TV and Kids in the the hall, and I really don't know any deep cuts off the top of my head.
Indeed, in comedy movies.
Comedy, I don't know, probably like the standards. I think like that there was like a real period of brilliance going on in like late 70s, early 80s with like the jerk. I don't know. Uh, I liked Good Boys. That was the name of it, right? From a couple years ago, or like last
Yep, that was
year
funny.
maybe. I don't know. Like I really don't seek out like media. I'm more like into finding like old stuff, like the forgotten kind of stuff. I'm on like groups called Deep into YouTube and Obscure Media. I don't know. I like finding the weird stuff. If it if it's well, how good could it be? You know what I mean? Like I like stuff that's supposed to hit a specific target, and I like either being that target or I like being so far off that I like stuff that was clearly not intended. Yeah, that's the kind of weird stuff I seek out.
Indeed. And if you can go on tour with any comedian locally and internationally known, which comedians would you like to go on tour with?
Say again.
Which comedians would you like to go on tour with, locally and internationally known?
Locally and internationally known what comics?
Yep, that you'd like to go on tour with? Like,
I'd like to go
on the road with,
huh?
on tour with,
Oh,
like on the road.
what comics would I like to go on? What comics would I like to go on the road with? Oh man, my friend Tom got to open for Spenny for me. That'd be interesting. I don't know. Locally, I guess like if locally, I would love to be working with anybody. You know, uh, if we have a positive interaction in the scene, then hell yeah, I would road trip with any of those people. Why not? Um, I don't know. Like I'm in for a varied experience. Different things. I would work with damn near anybody. If let's see, if you don't eat corn nuts in the car, I'll work with you. Corn nuts smell terrible. I can't work with you. That's a deal breaker. But other than that, I'll give you a shot. I'll give you a shot, kid.
Indeed, yeah, cornets smell like armpits, so I totally agree with you. Indeed, it's
Yeah,
let's
yeah.
see, and if you can get roasted by five comedians, five, which ones like to get roasted by?
Uh, all right. I'm gonna do another. Uh, are we there?
Yep, I'm here. Which if you can get roasted by five comedians, top five dead or alive, which ones like would you like to get roasted by?
One more time.
Oh, if you can get roasted by five comedians, past or present, which comedians would you like to get roasted by?
I heard
I'll
President.
I'll put it in the chat too, so that way it'll help too. So um
Oh,
oh
awesome.
yep. So so give me a second, and I'm using my phone too because my camera on my laptop stopped working. So in time, like on Saturday, I believe I'll get a new one.
How we doing, viewers?
Pretty pretty good. They come in and out, so sometimes they're shy on making a comment. So I'm like, don't be shy, folks. Come on in and ask us some questions. So hopefully, Keegan, it'll appear in your chat. So, which comedians would you like to get roasted by? See if think I might have lost Keegan for a little bit there, so we'll see what happens. Um, but as a reminder, his Instagram's on the bottom there, as well as his Instagram and his website. So we'll log him back in, and then we'll here in a little bit I'll send him a quick email and let him know that we had some technical glitches, but it's a live podcast, so anything goes. We'll see what happens next. So this is a pretty good times for sure. Oh, 2020, you never disappoint me. So, but yeah, this has been an interesting interview so far. Just going back on Keegan's career wise and all that good stuff, and hearing all about his journey from Iowa to Chicago and being one of the main staples in the Chicago scene. So I think I got Keegan back. I see his finger in the way. How's that? Were you able to be? I could
You
hear
got me?
you there. Yep. So if you can get roasted by 5 comedians,
Okay.
past and present, which comedians would you like to get roasted by?
I
Top
gotta ask,
five.
did I put on camera?
Oh yeah, I can see you.
Say that again?
It's frozen a little bit, but we'll be fine, I believe. Yep. Can you hear me okay? Are you there? I think I could hear you, but you're frozen still.
Uh, okay, and what's the question?
Ah, if you can get roasted by 5 comedians, past and present, which ones would you like to get roasted by?
Okay, I see you in chat. Which comics would you like to get roasted? Uh, mm, I'm gonna go with Tim Allen. Tim Allen. Crap, still
Indeed,
needs
and
taken down. Yeah,
sweet,
yeah, Tool
and
Man.
more. Who are on your panel with former comics, past and present?
Former comic. What?
Yep, 4 more comics. Which ones would you like to get roasted by? Besides Tim Allen.
Four more comics. Oh, goody. Kristen Lundberg, Tyler Ron, Jeff Arcuri, Luis Arvalo. There you go. I'm going all local,
Awesome,
except for Tim
perfect.
Allen.
Hey, indeed. He'll make some home improvements for sure. And let's see here. If you can, you've tried a lot of things like sketch and comedy writing and so forth. And what other forms of comedy would you like to venture off into, like podcasting or comedy writing or directing, etc.?
What else would I like to do? I'd like to do all of it. I want to be like a Renaissance man. I want to have all that stuff going on. I do music. I do videos. I want to do all of it. I want to be like Jerry Lewis up here, except later years. I want to be Jerry Lewis in his film. I want
Awesome.
to send it my way.
Most definitely. And where do you see your comedy career in the next 5 years?
The next 5 years, I don't know. It's all sort of still up in the air. I'll see what the next 6 months brings, and I can probably give you a lot better the next 5 years might look like.
Absolutely. Hopefully you get more bookings for sure. Indeed. That's what I'm hoping for, yeah. And let's see here. And what is your favorite joke a comic has ever written?
Uh, Off the top of my head, okay. So you remember when like I think Ellen hosted the Oscars. So like Ray Hollab had a bit where he would say like yeah, I used to have my grandma she'd give me a bath. My grandma give me I take a bath, and then my grandma, and so I'd get done with my bath and I'd start hollering for my grandma. I'd be like, grandma, get in here, dry my grandma, come here, dry my get in here, dry crack, grandma, come on, grandma, come in here, dry my butt crack, get in here, grandma, I want to go, I gotta get out of here, I gotta go watch Ellen host the Oscars. So the reveal
Awesome.
is that grandma was drying his butthole like days ago.
Indeed. And let's see here. What experience
I
would
don't
you like
know.
your
I don't know.
audience to take?
I don't know if StreamYard.com does it justice. What?
I think everything's okay on StreamYard for sure. Like they won't censor you. If what experience would you like your audience to take with them after a set is over?
What experience?
Would you like your audience to take with them after a
What
set is
experience?
over? Yep. Like what do you want them to take with them
One more
after
time,
your
please.
your what do you want your audience to take with them after your set is over?
After my set is over.
What do you want the fans to take away with them?
What do I do after my set is over?
Or like, what do you want your audience to take away from their experience? I can I'll type it in the chat box too. So.
Yeah. I don't know.
I'll type it into the
iPhone. I'm just.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I got a 5S over here. It's probably on my end.
Oh, for sure. Well, I'll type it into the chat box for you.
There we go.
I'll do my best, anyways. But I'll just
question. But
what experience?
Here. Yeah.
Oh, what experience would you like your audience or the crowd? What do you want them to take with them after your set is over?
Well, what kind of trap do I set for my audience after the set is over? I like when you have a bunch of leaves and you put them in a hole, so when you walk over it, you fall right down into the pit. Yeah. Sorry. The question is something about the audience and what.
Oh, there it is. That should work. So check in your local in your chat, your private chat, and that should come up. I typed with one hand, so hopefully that works out.
Okay, what experience like for your audience to take with them? What experience would I like to? I hope I'm memorable. You know, uh, I'm a mid-level comic. You know, like I'm not trying to rock their world. I hope they think like, okay, this guy was serviceable for the role he was in. You know, like if you're the host or the feature, and I tend to be one of those two. You got a specific role to play, and so like I hope the audience thinks I serve that role admirably, and I hope the player feels the same way.
Indeed. And for this final segment of the show, you get to pick my guesses for the guests for the feature. So with that said, we're gonna go with all levels of
Yes, for
the
the future.
comedy world. Yep. So which open micer would you like to nominate for the?
I'm named one or
Yep, one open micer. Your favorite.
sorry, the rules are what? Name one or one of each?
Yep, one of each.
Okay, so it's one open micer and
One host, one feature, one headliner, and one showrunner. Who would you like to see on the show? Locally.
Put this in chat while you're putting it in chat. I will say which open micer. The open micer that I think you should have on is, I guess it's like kind of insulting to define someone as, but yeah, to pick like a local person that I've seen at Mike's, you get a Luis Arevalo on the show. Luis, I've known him since the Goldies days. I've known him as like so young he technically shouldn't have been in the bar to do stand up that bad. So yeah, Louise or open mic person to have on. And here we go. Open micer, feature, headliner, showrunner. Okay, gotcha. Host, I mean hell. I'll go with the old buddy Tyler Ross. Why not? Tyler Ross MCs all kinds of stuff. Actually, you should maybe get him and or his Dylan Scott on. Yeah, get either one or both of them as your guest for host. Feature act. I mean, again, it's sort of like, it's a little bit underserving to call somebody like a feature and who's headliner and whatnot. Feature act. I don't know if you haven't had her on yet. I would get Krug. That'd be a great interview. Let's see if we're talking more like club mind. Oh, why not? Why not shout out Greg Gettle, GREG, of course, and then GETTLE. He's my old buddy living out in San Fran. So yeah, why not do him a little shout there as a feature act? Headliner, oh man, you could go Jim Flanagan, you could go Adam Burke, you could go Jeff Arcuri himself. Why not? Kelly Howard, if you haven't had her, I don't know. There's so many, there's so many names out there.
Indeed, and a showrunner such as yourself. Which one would you nominate?
Which one would I nominate for?
A showrunner. I'll put it in the chat to you.
You're telling me what I must if I have to pick one specifically, or let me look at your chat and see the clarification. Oh.
So which showrunner would you pick?
I don't know. How about you get old Ed Towns on here? Why not? You know, I've known him forever. Seen him go through the entire gamut. Saw him as an open micer. Saw him as a host. Now striking it big on the Chicago Comedy Gold Mine. There you go, Ed Towns.
Indeed. So we have your favorite San Francisco feature. How about your favorite Chicago feature? Current one. I put that in the chat too. Your currently. So
on the chat, see, clicking on the old phone. This Chicago feature.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know. You've already had me on the show. Chicago feature currently. I mean, hell, what's going on currently? I don't know. Why not? Bartusiak. Get Bartusiak. He's doing some work. I don't know if he's a feature, but I'd book him for it. There you go. Get Bartusiak.
Indeed, most definitely. And so, Keegan, are there any final words you'd like to share with the audience before we go off air?
We gotta do text for all these questions.
Indeed, I'll do that. I'll send you the what are the final words for you?
All right, sounds good. You got some nice headphones. I appreciate those. I like the Wu-Tang hat. I saw like a yard sign where it said it would have said like, you know, Biden Harris, but it said Wu-Tang and then Klan. And it says politics is temper.
That's my favorite sign too. One of them, anywho. Well, Keegan, thank you for being my guest tonight, for this episode of the Speakeasy and nominating your favorite comics, and I'll be sure to bring them onto the show, and I'll definitely email you and clarify all those names that way. So I'll definitely get those names clarified from you as well, because the audio kept on going in and out. But I'll be sure to get every single one of those comics onto the show for you. So with that being said, thanks for tuning in to the Stand-Up Speakeasy with Keegan Buckingham as my guest. Be sure to follow him on Instagram, Twitter, and visit his website, and book him after COVID goes away, and hook him up with all those good paying gigs.
Thank you very
You're
much
welcome,
for
Keegan.
having me. Appreciate it. Sorry for all the technical stuff. Yeah, you can find me on Keegan Buckingham. I really do appreciate the spot. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I appreciate you for being my guest on the show. So until next time, we'll see you on the Stand-Up Speakeasy with me, Sareth, and all the episodes are on my website, acutiepie.com. So check those out. Awesome. We'll see you next time.